Okay, so huge congrats on the engagement. I know planning a wedding can be a lot. But hey, we're here to help you with one detail, one less thing to worry about,
That's right.
choosing a wedding band.
Yes.
And, get this, it's not your grandpa's wedding band anymore. We're diving deep into Pillar Styles Wedding Bands 101.
Yeah, it's amazing how much variety there is out there these days.
It's incredible, and they break it down
It really runs the gamut, I think, of what a modern couple might be looking for.
totally. So let's start with classic. I mean, those are classic for a reason, right? They've stood the test of time.
They really have. And I think there's always going to be a place for that simple, elegant gold or platinum band. It just, it signifies tradition, it signifies enduring love.
Yeah.
And it's something that you're really not going to, look down at your hand in 20 years and be like, "What was I thinking?"
Right, like this is so dated.
Right, exactly.
Okay, so then you've got modern styles. So that's going to be like the new take on tradition, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think modern styles are all about putting a fresh spin on that tradition, Not necessarily even breaking the mold, but reflecting, what marriage means today. Like a great example is mixing metals, black tungsten with rose gold. That's huge right now.
I love that.
Yeah, it's just edgy, it's stylish, and again, it speaks to this partnership that's, forging their own path.
Totally.
Oh,
Okay, and then you've got black wedding bands, which just straight up cool factor.
mm-hmm.
But is that all it is? Is it just like an aesthetic choice?
I mean, the aesthetic is definitely a huge draw for a lot of people. Like, they look at it and they're just like, that is cool.
Yeah.
But there is a really practical side to them, too, These metals, we're talking about tungsten, titanium, tantalum, they're incredibly durable,
Oh, okay.
scratch resistant, tough as nails. So if you're a guy who works with his hands or has a really active lifestyle, they can really stand up to some wear and tear.
So that makes a lot of sense. So it's like if I'm going to bang my ring around a lot, like black tungsten's my friend.
There you go.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So then there's unique, and that's kind of a catch-all, I guess.
It is a little bit of a catch-all, but it's where you can really let your personality shine through. I mean, you can get your wedding date engraved in Roman numerals. You can find a band with, a really cool, unique texture. They even have, and Pillar Styles talks about this, these things called link edge rings, where it's almost like it looks like a linked chain.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, the craftsmanship is incredible.
So we're talking like next level.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not just picking a style, though,
Yeah.
right? I mean, I was blown away by just how many metals there are beyond like your typical gold and silver.
Right.
Like it's a whole thing.
It's a whole world.
So break it down for me. What are the big players in the metal game right now?
So, I mean, you've got your classics, right? You've got yellow gold, always going to be in style, very durable, great for warmer skin tones. And then rose gold, super trendy right now.
Yeah.
And again, has that kind of warm, romantic hue to it. Also great for warmer skin tones.
Rose gold is so in right now. Seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got those, but then you get into like tungsten, titanium, tantalum,
Yeah.
even cobalt, which I'd never even heard of for jewelry before.
Right?
So what's the deal with these like less traditional metals?
Well, it's like choosing superpowers for your ring finger,
I
right?
like that. Yeah.
Each one of these metals brings something really unique to the table.
Okay.
So take tungsten, for instance. Tungsten, incredibly strong, scratch resistant. So if you're the kind of guy, wants a ring that can withstand anything, tungsten's a good choice.
Yeah, it's like you're saying my commitment is as strong as this tungsten.
Exactly. There you go. Then you've got titanium. Titanium's known for being super lightweight, but also really strong. So if you have a more active lifestyle, you don't want something weighing you down, titanium could be the way to go.
So it's not even just about aesthetics, it's about like function too, right?
It totally is.
Okay. So we're picking out metals, we're picking out styles, we're getting excited. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, we've got to talk about size and fit.
Oh, yeah.
Because, nobody wants to be that guy who's like prying his ring off, right?
It's so important. And especially, I think, now that so many people order online,
Yeah.
getting the size right is crucial.
It's huge. And Pillar Styles talks about this. Like they emphasize how important sizing is. They even have a free sizing kit you can get,
which is amazing.
which is really cool.
Especially, for busy couples or folks that maybe don't have easy access to a jeweler.
Totally. But okay, so beyond getting the size right, they talk about fit, like standard fit versus comfort fit. What's
Yeah.
the difference there?
Well, standard fit's going to be the more traditional, I guess. It's got a flat interior edge, whereas a comfort fit has like a slightly curved interior edge.
Oh, okay.
And that can make a really big difference in terms of how it feels on your finger, especially if you're not used to wearing a ring.
I bet. I feel like that probably just slides on a little easier, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes it a little bit easier to take on and off.
Okay.
And, it can be more comfortable for all day wear, especially if your fingers tend to swell a little bit.
I can see that. So it's about finding that balance, right? Like secure, but also comfortable.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we've, covered a lot of ground here. Styles, metals. But I feel like there's this other piece of it too, which is the etiquette of it all, right?
Right.
Like how much are you supposed to spend on a wedding band? Who buys it? What finger does it even go on?
It's a minefield.
There are all these rules, right?
There are all these kind of unspoken rules.
Yeah. And Pillar Styles actually addresses some of these, which is really cool. And spoiler alert, there's no right or wrong answers.
Which is great, I think. That's really refreshing.
Totally.
It's really about what feels right for you and your partner.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's talk through a couple of these things. First of all, the cost. Is there like a magic number that you're supposed to spend on a wedding band?
Well, no, there's no magic number. I think Pillar Style said the average is somewhere around $478, but obviously, that can go way up or down depending on the metal, the style,
I'm sure.
all those little details. But really, the most important thing is to set a budget that feels comfortable for both of you.
Right, it's about finding something meaningful within your means.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. What about which finger it goes on? I'm assuming, like, most people still do that third finger on the left hand.
It's true. That's the most traditional choice,
Yeah.
rooted in that, beautiful belief that there's a vein that runs from that finger directly to the heart.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, the vena amoris.
Okay, but we're all about, like, bucking tradition here. What about couples that are like, you know what? We want to do something different.
I see. More power to them. Yeah.
Some people wear their wedding band on their right hand. Some couples even swap fingers after the ceremony.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, some people stack their wedding band with their engagement ring.
Okay.
Really, it's all about personal preference.
So, again, talk about it. Figure out what feels good for you.
Exactly.
Okay. Last etiquette question. Who buys the ring? Is it still like the guy buys the girl's ring, the girl buys the guy's ring? Is that how it works?
I mean, that's the traditional route, but I think, like a lot of wedding traditions, that's evolving.
Yeah.
More and more couples are sharing finances, making joint decisions. So it makes sense that the ring purchase would reflect that.
Yeah, it's interesting how even something like that sparks those conversations, It is. It really is. And again, it speaks to, I think, that idea of open communication and finding what feels right for you as a couple.
Totally. And you know what else feels like a big thing?
What's that?
Matched or mismatched bands.
Oh, yeah.
Is that still like a thing? Do couples feel like they have to have the same ring?
I think it's definitely still a conversation. I think, some couples love the idea of having, those perfectly matching bands. And if that's you, awesome.
Totally.
But I think there's also this kind of growing trend toward, embracing the individuality, even within a couple.
Yeah.
Which I think makes a lot of sense. You're two unique people. You have your own style, your own preferences.
Right.
Why not have that reflected in your rings?
It's a piece of jewelry you wear every single day.
Okay.
So it should speak to you. What about, though, those couples that are like, okay, we don't need to be like matchy-matchy,
Right.
but we want there to be like some connection. What are their options?
There are definitely ways to strike that balance. Like you could choose the same metal, but different styles.
Okay.
So there's a link there without being, too overly coordinated or, thinking about if there's an engagement ring involved, how that wedding band's going to look with it.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Do they complement each other? Do they offer a cool contrast?
It's about those little details.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I feel like we have covered so much ground,
We really have.
from like the different styles to the metals to like even just like the etiquette of it all.
Yep.
But I think if there's one thing that like you should take away from this whole conversation, it's that like this is a personal decision,
It is. More so than a lot of the other decisions you'll make.
Right. This isn't about just following tradition.
Right.
It's about finding something that reflects, you as a person, but also you as a couple.
It's true. And it really is like it's a tiny but mighty symbol,
Yeah.
of your commitment, of your love story.
It's more than just a ring. It's a statement.
Yeah.
It's a reminder.
Absolutely.
It's like this tangible representation of your love.
Nicely said.
Well, hey, I think on that note, we should probably wrap up our deep dive on men's wedding bands. Hopefully everyone out there listening is feeling, a little bit more informed.
A little less overwhelmed, a little more excited to get out there and find a ring.
Totally. And hey, if you need a place to start, Pillar Styles has got a great selection. In fact, you can use the Come Deep Dive at checkout for a little something special. We'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah, happy ring hunting.
Yes, happy hunting. And again, congrats on the engagement.
Big congrats.
Here's to finding the perfect ring for your happily ever after.